You may have seen my video on the Dark Knight 3 Master Race, the Absolute Edition. If not, go watch that video. And where I kind of alluded to maybe there was a follow-up to that. And there was. That was meant to be a final chapter to it, but then Frank Miller had an inkling for one more Batman story, and it was especially came to fruition when he met Rafael Grampá, the Brazilian comic book artist, one of my favorite that are going today, and they put this final chapter in with The Dark Knight Returns, The Golden Child, and it was collected in this beautiful deluxe edition by DC Comics. That's the topic for today. Watch this video until the end. Thank you guys. I am Taylor. This is Taylor Talks Comics, and I'm here to talk Dark Knight Returns, The Golden Child, the deluxe edition. The final chapter, the final saying, the final letter that Frank Miller wants to write about the Batman character. This was released in a deluxe edition. I got this from Half Price Books, as you can see, for $8.99, which I think these stickers usually come off pretty easy. I talked about in the Dark Knight 3 Master Race video, the Absolute video that I did, which go watch that if you haven't, that I kind of wish they would have packed this into that Absolute edition, especially with the reprint of the Absolute edition. Would have been kind of nice to have this even more oversized, because this is a deluxe edition. It is oversized, but I'm glad they printed it anyways, because I love Rafael Grampá. He's currently working on his own Batman story. I think it's like Batman Gargoyle or something. I'll definitely be collecting that when it comes out. They're supposed to be doing like a noir edition and a colored edition, so I'm pretty stoked about that. Now, it's very thin graphic novel. This was not released as a single issue or anything like that. And the color work in here is by Jordie Bellaire, and I cannot leave her out of the equation here, because her coloring work on this book is absolutely incredible. So now the book itself, it has like the textured cover, which just kind of reminds me of the Superman Year One Deluxe Edition. But you can see it's a blown up image, zoomed in image of Rafael Grampá piece as a wraparound cover. Oh, and this did come with an art print, which I'm surprised that buying this at Half Price Books that this was still intact in the book, this art print, because it's just loose, like it's not tipped into the book or anything, but buying it used and it still had this piece in here. Now this is done by Andy Kubert and Brad Anderson on colors. So this is a art piece not by Rafael Grampá. But it's kind of cool that it came with that. And then we get into it. So if you watch my video on Dark Knight Master Race, part 3, I didn't spoil a bunch. I just kind of give you the premise of that story and kind of like a launching pad to let you know what it's all about. And then, but kept it as spoiler-free as possible. Now, the one thing I did mention in that book, and I'll mention here, is that Wonder Woman was carrying a child on her back, kind of lone wolf and cub style, throughout the adventure. Now, that was the child, the son of Wonder Woman and Superman. And then we had Laura here, who is the daughter of Wonder Woman and Superman. And then we have Carrie Kelly as Batman, or Batwoman, here. That's the 3 central characters of this story. And it starts off with a little quote here, and then it gets into the story. Like I said, this was collected as a graphic novel, not as single issues. At least I don't think it was. Let me know in the comments if this was released as a single issue before this. But Rafael Grampá is a Brazilian cartoonist. He has not done a lot of comics, but he's one of those artists that I absolutely love, and I'll buy anything he does, because when we get a Rafael Grampá comic, which doesn't happen often, I really appreciate it and want to pick it up. And again, the Jordie Bellaire colors really make his art sing in here, having all this colorful imagery with you see all the separations of the figures and things. It's not muddied and brown, like there's actually true color to it. Really, really great job. And you can see right away this protest happening with some Donald Trump signs on here. So this is very much a social commentary of what's happening in the universe at this time. This book came out, I think, around 2020. Yeah, 2020 is when it came out. And I think it was, but before, well, if it came out 2020, yeah. Before the January 6th protest slash riot slash invasion of the Capitol building, whatever you want to call it. I'm not trying to dive into politics here. But this is very much talking about that. You see like a Trump on here. You'll see Donald Trump appear here quite a bit, which is kind of surprising because Frank Miller, who is the sole writer on this, he worked in collaboration with Rafael Grampá on the story and the drawing and the kind of messaging and things. But the only story credit on the book is Frank Miller. So it's not written like Frank Miller and Brian Azzarello, like the previous Dark Knight 3 and Last Crusade. Now we'll see Darkseid in here with the Joker. How's the Joker still alive? Well, you won't find out, but it's kind of kept ambiguous. Which is kind of cool that, like, every time Frank Miller visits this universe, this Dark Knight Returns universe that he's kind of done, like I said in the last video too, I think there's a through line in chronology of starting with Batman Year One all the way through this story of all the work that Frank Miller did with DC that kind of adds up and tells one story. But it's not complete. So, like, you get from Superman Year One to, I guess, All-Star Batman and Robin. I guess you could throw in Batman Spawn in there if you want to, but it doesn't tell like a continuous, you don't see all the chapters, I guess. So then All-Star Batman and Robin, you lead into The Last Crusade with JRJR artwork. Now that's when you go from like Dick Grayson becomes Robin all the way to now Jason Todd's Robin, and there's no like story about how that happens. So it's almost like we're just picking little chapters of the same story, which is kind of cool. I kind of like that idea. And one of those pieces of that story puzzle is the fact that we see Joker appear here. We don't know why. Let's see a little Donald Trump doll there. Now here's Batwoman, Carrie Kelly, who I believe Frank Miller has said that the whole entire Dark Knight Returns story is a Carrie Kelly story more than it is a Batman story. Which comes true. I mean, by the time you read Dark Knight Strikes Again and Dark Knight Master Race and then this story, you can kind of see that. But Rafael Grampá drawing Darkseid with the Omega effect here and explaining the anti-life equation and things is just absolutely brilliant. Like, and then this color work by Jordi Belair, just brilliant stuff. I don't know why this wasn't praised more, this story. I absolutely loved this story. Reading it, like, now I am a more of a, I appreciate art more than story in comics, I guess, or I'll pick stories based on art more than I will based on story, or whatever that ongoing argument is that people always have. So it could have been Rafael Grampá's art that pulled me into the story and really made me, and Jordi Belair's colors that really made me love the story so much. I don't know, but it's quite amazing. So then you get the Darkseid big battle between him and Wonder Woman and Superman's son, which is the finality of the story and how this ends. Then here's some variant covers to close out the book. Here's like, I think Rafael Grampá, maybe in the introduction or something, joked that Frank Miller said this was like a propaganda piece. It was kind of like that Banksy style art piece or message that Rafael Grampá did for that cover. Here's Frank Miller with Alex Sinclair drawing Darkseid, staring down the little Wonder Woman Kent boy there. Joel Jones doing a variant. Here's the Andy Kubert piece, which is, I guess it's interesting that it's like a separate, I guess you could put this, frame it on your wall if you wanted to, but it's the same exact size, like there's no difference to it. I don't know, I think I would have liked a print that was like either Frank Miller art or Rafael Grampá art, more so than Andy Kubert. Paul Pope with Jose Villarrubia. Paul Pope doing Darkseid. Sign me up for that. Now here's a little introduction letter from Rafael Grampá about how this project came to be. I think it would have probably been better suited as an introduction to the book, but, you know, whatever. Here's some character designs by Grampá, where he's working out the character ideas of all these. Here's a little Jonathan that he's working at, drawing. Here is the propaganda piece happening within the story. So it's really cool to see these. You also see like thumbnails and things where he's trying. That's what he said his process is, to work with digitally with thumbnails at first, and then he draws over the top of them. Probably prints those off and light boxes them for his pencils and inks. But some cool back matter here. Some process work, which is cool. Trying to see if there's anything on the last page. Nope. That's it. That's the final chapter, like I said, of the DC universe story as told by Frank Miller. I really enjoyed this. I think it's awesome. I think it's worth reading. If you've heard otherwise, maybe give it a shot. And let me know what your thoughts are if you have read this in the comments. So comment down below with your thoughts on this, or your thoughts on Frank Miller, thoughts on the way Frank Miller views the DC universe. All those things in the comments. Give the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. All those things help my videos in the YouTube algorithm get put in front of people's eyeballs that don't know my channel exists, which then helps me in the long run gain more subscribers and followers and viewers, and I appreciate that so much. So stay tuned for more video content on this channel, and keep talking comics.